Hello, greetings, and welcome to the Art of Hygiene, where we will explore ways to look after our bodies no matter where we are in the world, no matter who we are, and where we might live. We all share the importance of hygiene in our lives. And we'll explore why that is and maybe some of the obstacles that come up that happen when hygiene is not being taken care of, and what is needed to take care of one's hygiene. And I am, first of all, not an expert in the medical profession. I am just a regular person. I am 45 years old. I'm from the Midwest United States, and I currently live in Texas. I am a person who has worked in education and human services, in tutoring, and in navigator roles. So, nothing that would be considered fancy. But I have worked with people for over 20 years, and I have seen firsthand the challenges associated with maintaining hygiene, especially in places where supplies, including clean water, including well-maintained bathroom facilities, including hygiene products, when those are hard to access. I have worked with people who start developing problems that add to the stress of daily living. And so many of those stayed with me over the years. I cared about my clients and my students to the point where I wanted to learn hands-on as much as I could about personal hygiene. And I'll add myself, I also was not really explicitly taught myself about personal hygiene growing up. Yeah, even in a wealthy nation like United States, it can happen. So I come from just a farming community, and my parents were very busy. They worked a lot. Both my mother and father worked quite a bit. And the topic of personal hygiene was not really expressed explicitly. So I had to sort of do what's called be an autodidact, just sort of learn myself. Now, I was fortunate to always have supplies like soap, and we had a well, so the water was okay. It wasn't drinkable, but we could bathe with it. For drinking water, we had to either boil it or filter it or have it delivered. But we did have a water source, and I always had soap available. And now in places I've traveled as an adult, like I've traveled in Asia, places like Nepal or India. I did travel in areas where I saw that even having access to water to take a daily bath with can be a challenge. And so I felt grateful for even having well water growing up that was not drinkable, but at least could be used to bathe with. I feel fortunate. And so when I can, now I'm going to try and use my own experiences as a child, not having a lot of instruction in personal hygiene until I got to high school, where it was required. We had to take a health class, and then I learned some of the basics and built on those. And then just, talking to people and learning as life goes on. So my motto is to keep learning, keep moving, and enjoy life. So now that I've welcomed each and every one of you, no matter where you are in the world, and given a little bit of background about my own experiences and where I grew up and my own obstacles to learning about personal hygiene, now we're going to talk about hygiene, the word. But before we do that, I want to say first off that yes, podcasts and videos and books and the internet are tools and resources that we have available to us, and they can be great. But I also encourage you to talk to the people around you that you trust about this stuff, hygiene stuff, in order to gain more perspective. Why? Because the people around you will know about your region, your resources, even your climate, and maybe they have a few more years of experience with how to deal with these kinds of variables in your area. And they can share some of their own personal experience and perhaps wisdom that could be useful to you. Now, of course, it's up to each person to use their own judgment and their own discernment about whether or not the information that one is receiving, whether it's from online or a book or a podcast like this, whether it's useful to you or not will be up to you. If in doubt, research, study, ask, and always use your own judgment, okay? So gaining perspective from multiple sources is important, I think. Now that said, let's go. Let's explore this word hygiene. So what is hygiene? The dictionary gives a few different definitions. Cambridge Dictionary calls it the degree to which people keep themselves or their environment clean, especially to prevent disease. Yeah. And a second definition of hygiene from Cambridge Dictionary also says, hygiene is the practice or principles of keeping yourself and your environment clean in order to maintain health and prevent disease. Okay. And then there's a third definition that says, hygiene is the care and attention that is given to keeping yourself and your environment clean, especially to prevent disease. Okay. So I'm noticing a pattern here of maintaining oneself, the cleanliness of oneself and one's environment. What does that mean? One's home, maybe where one works, where one lives. Now, I have worked with people who do not have a home, and I myself have experienced periods of my life where I would be technically considered homeless because I did not have a permanent place to live, but rather temporary stays. And so I know that the degree to which we keep ourselves and our environments clean changes. It can change. What our environment looks like can change over the course of our lives and depending on where we are. And as the environment in which we find ourselves changes, so too do the resources and supplies that we have to maintain our personal hygiene. Those can also change along with the environment. So I can share some things that have worked for me over the years in different living situations and environments, and things that have worked for clients that I have had the opportunity to work with, things that they've shared that have worked for them in order to maintain a high level of hygienic self-care even when we are in living situations that are less than certain. Also, in these definitions, we see a link to the practice of hygiene, sanitation, personal standards of hygiene, and preventing disease due to factors such as lack of water access, lack of soap access, simple things. We think they're simple, but sometimes if we are if we're going through something and suddenly there's a lot of change around us, or we live in a part of the world, or our job means we have to travel a lot, anything that keeps us from having a lot of stability can upset our hygiene routines. So hygiene is also a preventative practice that I have seen in my own life, and it works towards keeping oneself healthy and just feeling well and living well. And I also noticed in one of the books I was looking at about hygiene, and I got this from the library, and I liked this simple description of hygiene. The author says, "What is hygiene? Hygiene is about keeping our bodies and our homes clean. If you keep your body clean, you can help to fight off germs. There are different kinds of germs. Bacteria are tiny living things that live all around us. Some bacteria can make you ill. Viruses are the tiniest germs. They can infect the cells in the body and cause disease." And so the first two practices given by this author is wash your face and brush your teeth. So washing your face and brushing your teeth are two basic ways to start building a daily routine of hygiene. I remember growing up in a hot, humid area, and the summers were quite, the air was just heavy with a lot of moisture and humidity, and you sweat a lot in that kind of temperature. And growing up, sometimes I would go to bed and I had not been taught or taken the initiative to learn that I needed to wash my face with soap and water, and even a clean washcloth if available, but at least soap and water. And sometimes I would go to bed without doing that, and I would wake up in the morning and your skin problems like acne or clogged pores or even a rash that can develop when we don't do that basic thing of just washing our face. And nowadays I've learned over the years through self-study and trial and error, because I've had my share of skin problems, and I've learned the best thing I can do is wash my face before bed every night, no matter how tired I am, and when I get up in the morning. And all I use is clean water. If warm water is available, all the better. If it's not, I'll use cold. and soap. And it does not have to be fancy soap. It does not even have to be something designated as specifically face wash. That's a luxury item for those of us on a budget. But a simple, gentle, mild soap. I use unscented, but if the only thing available is scented, I'll use that too, as long as it doesn't cause me problems. Some people are sensitive to fragrances, so all of this requires one to know themselves and know your body, and that's a lifelong process. Our bodies change as we get older. And this podcast is for all ages, so especially for you young folks who are listening to this, no matter where you are, your body is still growing and still changing. So anything that is a new practice for you, just start small and start slow and see how your own body and your own system responds. So if you try a new soap, pay close attention that first time you use it. Did your body react well to it? Or did it cause anything like itching or irritation? And then adjust. So we don't want to cause more problems when we try a new health routine, a new hygiene routine. We're trying to prevent illness, prevent disease, not create more problems. So, of course, make sure as our bodies change that we pay close attention and we learn to look after our own well-being. And we always tune into how our body is responding to new practices. So I think I've talked enough for this first introductory podcast. I'll call it episode 1. I did want to get into a couple more sources that I found at the library, but I'll just hold off and we can explore those next time. So I am going to create a informational sheet with some pictures and some points from what we've discussed today. I'll put those in the show notes, and you can feel free to explore that. You can download it, or if it's not useful to you, don't worry about it. So always trust yourself and stay clean, stay happy, stay healthy, keep moving, and have fun. And I look forward to seeing you all here next time.